Okay, so we are streaming tonight with Full Frame. Welcome, everybody. I'm super excited that you're here tonight, and we're going to spend a great hour not only looking into Full Frame and some of the features that we've had all along and some of the features that we've added, but we're really going to talk about your business. The point of these live streams is to not only learn some of the features that you may not be using in Full Frame, but more important, I think, than that is really taking a look at our workflow, taking a look at our business that we are trying to build or currently running, and really asking ourselves why we do what we do, why we make the decisions we make in our business, why we set our prices a certain way, why we choose our competitors the way that we do, and why we go after our agents the way that we do. And so tonight we're going to be doing a couple of things. Very exciting night, because I think you're going to walk away from tonight with a lot of knowledge that will help you starting tomorrow morning. And guys, thank you so much for spending your evening with us. I know we have dinner here pretty soon for some of us that are later in the time zones. But I promise it'll be an hour that is well worth it, and we're gonna get going here in just a couple of minutes. Hey, I would love to get to know who's on right now, so go ahead and type your name and what city you're from, and we'll get to know each other here. A couple of things, I'm going to be asking some questions, and the best way to answer the question would be in the chat. So if you can go ahead and say something in the chat, maybe your name and what city you're from, that at least lets me know that we are live and that you can hear me and that everything is okay. So first of all, can you hear me? So I'm going to go ahead and let you respond in the live chat if you can hear me. And again, tonight we're really talking about hey guys over there in South Carolina, welcome. Hilton Head, I know that's a beautiful place. Welcome from there. Audio is good. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. So tonight we are going to be really looking very closely into Full Frame and some of the features that it offers. But what we're really going to do is we're going to go through your workflow and your business, and each of you can do that individually while I ask some questions. And then we're going to talk about how Full Frame can solve some of your challenges and meet them. And we're also going to talk about your business as a whole and kind of why we do what we do. Hey guys, thank you so much for being a part of this. At the end of this, we are going to give away 3 virtual tours, so that's always exciting. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to write all the names down on the board that we have from the live chat. So as soon as we see your name pop up in the live chat, we're going to write your name down, and we're going to put it in a bowl at the end, and we're going to select a name. Now, don't let me forget, for those who have seen some previous live streams, there is a chance that I forget because there is a lot going on. We have the board over here that I have to control. We have the live chat that I'm looking at. So go ahead and start shouting towards the end of the live stream if I haven't announced that name, and you will receive 3 virtual tours. So go ahead, and if you're with us, and let us know that you're with us in the live chat. And again, that's where we're going to take the names for the 3 virtual tours. So we are ready to get going. And tonight, it's all about you. The way that it's all about you, though, is that we're going to talk about business in general, and we're going to talk about how it affects your business. What are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? And the reason it's so important to answer a question like, what are your goals, or what you're trying to achieve, is because those goals are going to determine the decisions that you make here in the near future. Especially if you're already using Full Frame, they are going to determine the decisions that you make tonight. So one of the things that I want to ask you to do is just keep an open mind tonight. Let us kind of come into your mind here for about an hour, and then after that you can make your mind up about the things that we say, but keep an open mind. So why are you with Full Frame? If you're already signed up for Full Frame, I'd love to ask, how long ago did you sign up? What made you sign up with Full Frame? Because this is one of the most important things we're going to talk about tonight. You see, most people, when they're looking for a solution, it's obviously because they have a problem. And so what was your problem that led you to look for a solution that obviously led you in some way to Full Frame? Now, the reason this is important is because we talk about workflow, and it's funny, Barry Fish, who the owner of Full Frame and also owns a photography company in Southern California that we'll be talking a lot about tonight, by the way, and that photography company is Flash It First. But we have been talking a lot about our workflow versus some of our clients' workflow. With Flash It First, we have a workflow, and Barry built Full Frame around that workflow because as the need came up, he integrated it into Full Frame. Now that's important because what you're looking at with Full Frame is not a software development company with a lot of bells and whistles, and but what you're looking at is a practical and useful piece of software that helps you with your daily workflow. So why did you come to Full Frame? You know, one thing that I've noticed here in the last, and we're going to look at the diffusion of innovation here pretty soon, but one thing that I've noticed here is that the workflow doesn't always meet exactly what we would expect. And the reason is because when I talk to clients of Full Frame, I ask them kind of what they're doing. And a lot of times what they're doing is they're still using many different types of software. So they might be using something for email. They might be using something to deliver photos. And when they come up with a problem, they come up with a problem on a specific piece of software. So let me ask you right now, and let's put this in chat, how many pieces of software or how many solutions are you currently using to run your business? Go ahead and put that in live chat. How many, and you can estimate, but how many pieces of software or how many solutions are you using to run your business? Now, obviously, if you're using a lot of pieces of software, then we are going to need a lot more time to use that software. We're going to need a lot more time to train our team how to use that software. There's going to be a lot more need for interaction between that software, and let's face it, it's usually not that easy. And so we're just spending a lot of time. And so when I talk about Full Frame and trying to condense the software that you use, it's not because it benefits Full Frame more. To be completely honest, we make the same amount of money whether you use every feature or just one of them, right? And so really the benefit of condensing your software is because of time and effort. You know, I was talking to a client the other day and we talked about time and effort, and I asked a question of what your goal is. What is your goal next year? Let's say for 2018, we're about to set goals. What is your goal? And this client gave me a monetary value, and I said, that's great. So how many shoots per week would you have to do to achieve that goal at your current price? And so we kind of looked at their pricing, and we said, okay, this is how many homes you would have to shoot per week. Now let's look at your market, and we looked at kind of average number of homes on market in any given month. And of course, that's an ebb and flow type of situation, but we looked at how many, and then we determined what type of market share he would have to gain the number of listings and then to meet his goal at the end. Now, what that'll tell you is a couple of things. Number one, it'll tell you if you need a team of photographers. It'll tell you if you can do it yourself. It'll also tell you a price point. Meeting your goal at $150 per shoot is a lot different than meeting your goal at $600 per shoot. You would obviously need less shoots at $600 per shoot, and then therefore you would have to gain less market share. And that's going to be important when we look at diffusion and innovation, which we've looked at before, by the way, but this time we've included market share, so it's going to be a great thing to look at again. But basically, these are the questions that you have to ask. And the reason it's important to go back to the beginning for a second is because a lot of times what happens is we decide to either become photographers, or we were photographers. Let's say we did weddings or other types of shoots, and then we get into real estate, and we never really ask ourselves what it is that we want to achieve. One of the things that we do is we say, okay, we want to be the best real estate photographers possible, and then we look at our competitors and we look in our area, and we see what they're delivering, and we kind of base our decisions a lot of times based on our competitors. What are they delivering? What is it that agents expect from them? And we kind of go with that flow. Well, what that means is that now we have to compete with price, right? Now, if we're competing with price, then now we have to compete with product, right? So let's bring that up a little bit later, because the truth is when you're looking at your competitors and you see their price and you see what they deliver and you try to compete with that, then what your agents are doing is they are being forced to select between two photographers who pretty much do the same thing and pretty much charge the same. Maybe there's a $10 or $20 difference. But if an agent is already with a photographer, what you're asking that agent to do is to leave that photographer and come over to you. And by the way, you're going to charge about the same price, maybe beat them a little bit, but you're also going to deliver about the same product. That is a really hard thing to do. It's hard to convince somebody to come to your company unless you stand out. One of the ways to stand out is to simplify your business. Simplify your business. The reason is because when you simplify your business and the software solutions that you're using tonight, then you have more time and you can spend more effort on making your clients happy. So what normally happens, let's look at these softwares that we have up on the screen. And if anybody is having a hard time seeing the stream, just let us know in the live chat. There might be some buffering issues. And if I'm going too fast, please let me know in the live chat or if the audio comes out. But when we have a slew of solutions, what we tend to do is we tend to go along our workday and we're happy. And all of a sudden we realize there's a problem. And it might be a problem delivering photos. It might be a problem having your agents take orders or give orders to you on a website. Maybe you don't have a great payment system. Maybe your virtual tour creator is no longer working, or maybe you can't offer virtual tours at this moment. But basically, we look at that problem and we get on Google and we search for a solution. And that's how a lot of you came to Fullframe. But what ends up happening is that we simply replace Fullframe with that problem. We replace Fullframe with that problem. And so we replace that problem with Fullframe. Sorry about that. We replace the problem with Fullframe. But we don't really step back and look at all the other workflows that we have, all the other solutions that we have. Because the truth is, maybe they're not a problem. But if you're using a lot of different solutions, then that is a problem. Because again, you're not going to have time and effort. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to kind of look at how Fullframe can take the place of these other solutions that you're using. Not because these other solutions aren't great. There are some amazing solutions out there. But the truth is, again, you need to spend your time and effort on what pays the bills, on what helps you meet your goal. A couple of reasons why it's scary to change. And tonight is about change for a lot of us. That's the truth. We have a workflow that isn't quite working, and we're really busy, and we don't have the time to change. But tonight is a little bit about change. And by the way, we're going to look in depth at Fullframe. We're going to go screen by screen and show you the features that are there, show you what your clients are experiencing, and then towards the end of the stream, I'm going to actually deliver a project live as it comes out. I haven't seen the photos for this project. I haven't spoken to the agent for this project, but I know we have to deliver a project tonight. We're going to do that live so you can see my exact workflow that Barry and I developed at Flash It First, and you can see exactly where we're using different software products. You can see how we're renaming and resorting the photos. You can see how we're delivering it, and you can see that towards the end here. So we talk about Fullframe, and a lot of the times, and by the way, I talk to a lot of clients, and we talk to them, and a lot of times they give us different excuses or different reasons for why they feel like they can't switch their workflow to one solution. Number one, my competitor provides that service. This has to be one of the things I hear most. My competitor provides that service. Now, we already touched on this a little bit by talking about your competition. And this is where a lot of us start. A lot of us start at our competition trying to figure out how much we're going to charge or trying to figure out how many photos we're going to deliver. And again, we've already discussed the problem with that. It's because at the end of the day, you start delivering the same thing as your competitor and you start charging about the same, and then you really have nothing that helps you stand out. I want you to think right now about your competitor and what they offer that is really great in your opinion. and something that you're trying to offer because you think that agents are wanting it because your competitors offer it. The first question that comes to mind when I'm looking at my competitors and looking at what they're offering is, well, is that even of value? The truth is, if we're simply looking at what our competitors offer, we don't really know if it's of value. We don't really know what the agent thinks. But here comes our fear kicking in. Oh my goodness, if I don't offer this exact thing, then an agent is not going to want to use me because who they're using now is offering it. But you never stop to ask yourself, is it of any value? And the truth is, we can't know because we're not going to sit there and talk to every agent out there. It's a great idea to call agents and ask questions, get to know your agents, understand where your value is in your business. But when you're looking at what people offer, you're just simply not going to know if it's of any value. So how do we choose what we deliver? Well, we talk to people. We already know. We know that agents need photos to market their listing. We know that they need a property website. We know that they might need a virtual tour. We know that they might need brochures and different marketing materials that we could offer. So tonight I want to encourage you, because like I've said in the past, the wonderful thing about this is that it's your business. It is your business. You get to decide. And that stress that comes along with trying to compete directly with another person, that stress that comes along with fearing losing agents to a competitor, that stress that comes along with that will melt away. Because what you're going to have is a business that you actually wanted to run, a business that you wanted to build. This is your business. And let's find out how to build it the way that you want to build it. My competitor provides that service. Great. Let's figure out what we can provide that our competitor doesn't provide. Second thing we hear a lot are, my clients are used to it. I do things this way or that way because my clients are used to it. Hey, there's some great software options out there. Your clients are used to whatever you are doing at the moment. Your clients might be used to what your competitors are doing. If you're delivering photos, let's say with a third party, and it's a little bit more difficult for you, it's more time and more energy out of your day to deliver photos that way, but your reason for doing it instead of switching over is because my clients are used to it, well, you're right, they are used to it. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't grow. That doesn't mean you shouldn't find a better way. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't bring your business up to the level that you want it. We talked last stream about your agents running your business. Are you going to allow your agents to run your business? This is one of the things that I hear a lot. Well, I deliver photos this way, or I take payment this way because that's what my agents are used to. Well, they're used to what you're doing, and I promise you that if you change what you're doing or you get to that next level, they're going to be used to that as well. And then not only are your agents going to be happy because they're used to it, but you're going to be happy because you have the business that you want. The third thing we hear a lot, my clients would never do that. We talk a lot about the Client Center. One of the great values of Full Frame is the Client Center because your agents will have access to their media 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you know that listing that they shot 6 months ago, that all of a sudden the client needs a new photo for a magazine cover that they've coming out with. That photo is right there in the Client Center, and that takes less time for them to grab than it would for them to call you, for you to search your hard drives, for you to try to figure out where on Dropbox or where on some linked site it is, and then for you to send it to your clients. And that's what we're really talking about here. That's why I'm so excited right now, because I know that time is being wasted doing things that just simply take more time. So I'm going to show you how the simplest way, the simplest workflow, that's what we're going to show tonight, the quickest workflow. All right? My clients would never do that. This is kind of like my competitors offer it and I'm going to offer it even though I don't know it's a value, if it's a value or not. The truth is, clients will do a lot of great things. This is for people in general. And a lot of the times we kind of project ourselves on other people. And I don't want to get too deep here, but the truth is this happened recently. So I am a committee chair for Cub Scouts in my area. My son's a Cub Scout, and we love it. But one of the things that we have to do is sometimes we have to go knock on doors and share information about the community, or maybe we're doing a fundraiser. And the truth is, in my mind, I'm thinking no one wants me to knock on their door. I'm not going to knock on people's door. They would never want me to do that. They would never want to buy popcorn from a 7-year-old Cub Scout, right? But the truth is, I'm projecting my kind of anxiety about knocking on doors to them. Now, we did go knock on doors, and every single person that responded was incredibly positive and incredibly energetic. And after a while, I started getting energized, and I started getting excited, and we hit more houses than we were supposed to. Is that what happens in your business? Do you speak to your agents and you just feel energized after you speak to them? Actually, I'd like you to answer that in live chat. The truth is, I'm not sure you do, because I know I didn't. When you speak to agents, a lot of times you're speaking to them because something's wrong. Every day it seems like it's a new battle with something else. One of the ways to help that is to condense your workflow so that it's easier for the agent. While I understand that sometimes it's better to deliver with this piece of software and it's better to take payments with that piece of software, the truth is now you're having your agent use 2 pieces of software. So we're going to see how Fullframe can take care of all of this. And by the way, you are going to have to use another solution for, let's say, payroll if you have a big team. But for the most part, for the majority of clients, Fullframe is what you need. And by the way, expect your clients to do things, because they will. We talked about innovators at our last, the diffusion of innovations at our last stream. And I love this chart, so I want to share it again, but I want to share it again for a little, with a little bit of difference, which is market share. And the reason I like this chart is because anytime we're making decisions, our biggest fear is that, oh, I'm going to have agents leave me. If I start delivering photos with Fullframe, I'm going to have agents leave me. If I start having them put in their own order in the Client Center, they're going to leave me. The truth is, as we've seen with this chart and with this theory, is yes, they are going to leave you. You are going to have a percentage of agents who don't like the changes that you're making, who don't like what you're doing. And that's okay, because the truth is, no matter what you do, you're always going to have a group of people who don't like what you're doing. You're going to have a group of people who love what you're doing. And the last time we shared this, a lot of photographers kind of got excited because it gave them permission to focus on the agents that they wanted to work with. So for those who couldn't join us last time, the diffusion of innovations is this theory by Everett Rogers that seeks to kind of explain how, why, at what rate a new idea or technology spreads. And so anytime you come out with something, this is trying to explain the rate at which it will spread. So we have 2.5 who are innovators, 13.5 who are early adopters, and so on, and you can see. And then you have 16% who are laggards. Now, when it comes to real estate photography, 16% being laggards are usually the loudest at times. So if you have 100 agents right now and you make changes, and this can be any change, this really has nothing to do with Fullframe, it can be any change. If you start replacing skies a certain way, or if you start adding fires that's a different color, you're going to have roughly 16% of people who just aren't going to like it. But the great news about this is that you don't have to worry about them. You don't have to worry about the percentage of agents who are going to leave you. The reason is because that is not our market. That's not who we want to build our business around, because again, we want to get energized as we talk to our clients, kind of like Doug does. He says that he does get pretty energized when he talks to his clients, and that's the kind of business we want. So who we're really going for are the early majority and even the late adopters, or I'm sorry, the late majority and the early adopters. Now what's funny is the innovators over here, what you can see here is that the bell curve goes for innovators to laggards, but then there's another curve here, which is the market share. In other words, if you only need, let's say, 5% of the market, then you can stay in this range where you're getting innovators and early adopters. all the way up to about 55% of the market is when you're going to have to start going for the late majority and laggards. So this is great because it kind of tells us that, you know what, the truth is, few of us are going to need or want or be able to handle even more than 50% of the market. Right? So what we're doing here is we're looking at average houses on the market right now, and we're saying, okay, there's 1,000 houses on the market right now in my area, and that's average for 30 days, and I need to shoot 100 of them, so that's 10%. So really, we don't need the percentage of clients who are going to cause the greatest issues and challenges. We don't need the clients who are going to suck the energy out of us. And I'm sorry for making it sound that abrasive, but the truth is that's what we allow people to do. We allow them to suck the energy right out of us. So let's move on to full frame, because I'm really excited about really going through exactly what the challenges that we can meet with full frame. As we go through this, I think I'm going to really highlight some of the questions that we've had lately. For example, how to change the header photo. That's a question that we've had. So we'll kind of walk through a project here quickly, and then as I deliver the photos, we'll show you our workflow. So the first thing that's going to happen is your client is going to log into the Client Center to create the project. Now, I understand that some workflows don't start here. Some workflows start with the photographer actually putting in the project for one reason or another. I want to encourage you to have your agents put it in. And very simply, the reason is because if you're looking at your goal of what you're trying to make for the year, whether it be shoots or you want to hire 5 photographers or you want to make $100,000, whatever your goal is, you really have to be realistic about if that is possible. Is your goal possible? And every time you have to answer the phone or every time you have to kind of take time away from what makes money to take care of a client, then your goal becomes less possible. And the truth is, it's extremely hard to forecast if you're not really sure how many agents are going to call with problems or how many agents are going to want to order new projects this month. It's hard to forecast how much time you're going to spend on the phone. So what I love to do is before we work with any agent, I ask them to go into the Client Center, and they can go directly to our website, and they can click log in, and there they can make a new account. So this is the first great thing about full frame, is that you don't have to make an account for your clients. They can actually make them for themselves. And you would just link your website to the full frame Client Center. So now I'm here, I can enter a new project. Now I'm not going to go through the entire new project because for the most part I believe everyone should have or has kind of set up a test client, or maybe they're in business now and they've already kind of seen the way that the client sees things. So I'm going to go through this real quick, but basically I can set up a new project and all the way to payment. Now, the first thing we're going to look at is payment, because I know I've had a lot of questions lately of how to turn on payment for either whether you're using Elavon or Stripe or invoicing. So we're going to go to My Account. I'm sorry, I was in My Account. We're going to go to Configuration, and we're going to go to Billing Your Clients. Now, this is where, all right, I see that some are saying that my screen is just showing the logo. All right, let's see here. Let me see if I can't. You know what? Let me try to move over the screen. How about that? Now I think you can, or you will be able to see it pretty soon here. All right, there we go. Now I can see it on the live stream. Sorry about that, guys. So let me actually go back to there. So we were on the dashboard, and by the way, we'll talk really briefly about the calendars because we're super excited about that. But we're on the dashboard here. And we're going to go to My Account. I'm sorry, again I did that. We're going to go to Configuration, and we're going to go to On-Off Features. And this is where we can decide if our clients pay by invoice or by credit card. Now, if they pay by invoice, they can simply put in a project and hit Save, and it's going to send you an email saying that there's a project active. If they pay by credit card, then they'll be asked to pay ahead of time, and then it'll send you an email that says project is active. So that's the difference between credit card and invoice, one they have to pay and one they do not have to pay. So I'm going to have that that the agents here are not going to pay by invoice, so I'm going to not enable that. Now, if I did want to enable this, a cool little feature we have is show link for optional credit card payment. This way, actually, invoice clients can pay if they'd like. Okay, and that's how you do that in the on-off features. Now, sometimes we want to do that for just the agent. So let me go back here to an agent that I had up earlier. And we can do that by going to the agent profile. You see I just clicked on the agent name, and right under their logo we can do either use account setting, payment method, credit card, or invoice. So I'm just going to go to use account setting. So all of our on and off features you can configure for the most part by either just the entire account, or you can do it by each agent. So again, the importance of having the agent themselves create their account is that when you first get to the Client Center, by creating your own account, you're really going to be able to walk through the Client Center and get really comfortable with it. And so that's why it's important to have the agent do it. So let's talk about the workflow here, because I don't want to lose time with this. So I'm going to go to a specific project. Now this project was put in. I haven't seen the photos. I haven't done anything with it yet. I thought it would be great to walk through how we kind of work this workflow just by using full frame, and then of course I'll use Lightroom and also Bridge to rename and resort the photos. So let's go ahead and get started, because I do need to download these photos and it might take a little bit of time. So here is our here are some retouches that just came in recently. Now let me show you the great thing about retouching, because I think this is important, and this kind of touches on the calendars. So one of the keys to retouching is understanding your workload before your retouches come in. So if I know that I'm going to have 3 to 10 retouches next week, then I know how many retouchers I'm going to need. Now a lot of clients, as well as us, we outsource our retouching. And one of the issues that we were having is that our retouchers who are not in our country had this whole team ready, but sometimes they would only get 3 projects, and sometimes they would get 10 or 15 a night. And it was really hard for them to forecast that, and really hard for them to be able to say, yes, we're going to have 10 retouchers versus we're going to have 2 retouchers. So we actually solved that problem with the calendars, and here's how we did it. I went ahead and set up, as a user, our retoucher. Now I put them under the for who they are, I put them under calendar only user, and this allows them to share their calendar with us, and us share our calendar with them without them being able to log in. So if we look on the dashboard, or actually let's go back to the project first, because I wanted to show you how I did this. So we're going to go back to the project now. Because I have my calendars turned on, and by the way, I do that in configuration, on-off features, and then calendars enabled. Because I have my calendars turned on my dashboard right now, I see projects. Now we don't have all of our projects here. This is a test calendar that we're using. So let me go back here actually. Well, that's all right. We'll go through here. I'm trying to figure out the best way to show everybody, because I know the live stream is delaying a little bit. So if we go back to our projects, what you're going to see is that I actually went ahead and assigned our photographer to a project. So now I have our assigned photographer, and it's about 60 minutes here, and we have the date and time, and we have all the information here. Now the great thing about assigning the photographer is that now the photographer receives an email letting him know that a project's been assigned to him, letting him know the pertinent information that he'll need, like the address and stuff like that. And that's going to help your photographer a lot with organization, because as soon as this project is assigned to him, he's going to know he has a project even before he looks at his calendar. That email is also going to help a lot when he's on the road, because if he needs the instructions or anything, he's going to have that email to go through. Some of our clients, their photographers don't log in, and so that's why we've kind of added the email notification for the photographers so that they could actually get the information they needed even if they can't log in. But for our retoucher, which is what we're talking about now, I actually added a task down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a task, and you can see all the information for the project here, and we're going to put it for a day after our shoot, we're going to say that it's 60 minutes, even though we don't really care because it's not anything that is important to us. And we're going to give it to our retoucher. So what happens is I'm going to put here retouch 30 photos. Now I know it's 30 photos because this is a photo shoot 2 for us, and we deliver 30 photos if the house is between 2,000 square feet to 3,500. So I know it's going to be 30 photos. Now the great thing about this is that our retoucher has actually linked their Google Calendar with our full frame calendar. Anyone who is a user can link their Google Calendar with your full frame calendar. So now, not only did our retoucher get an email saying, hey, you've been assigned a task for this project, but now it's showing up on their calendar. So every night they can see how many retouches they're going to have from us, how many we expect them to deliver, and this has saved us a lot of heartache where our retouchers weren't really ready for us. The great thing about this, it doesn't take any more time other than just simply assigning a task. And you can do that with anyone, with your video editors. You can share certain calendars. So if my video editor needs to let my retoucher know when the video edit is, they can share their calendar through admin, and now everyone's on the same team. Everyone has a calendar, and everyone's ready to go with the project, which is going to significantly decrease delays. Now, one more thing I want to say about the calendar, and one of the reasons we're already using it, number one, it is saving us a ton of time. I no longer have to go to different Google calendars to put events in. I can just do it directly from the project. But number two is that the calendar is only part one of our scheduling module that I know you guys are as excited about as we are. So it's only part one. So the earlier we use it, the better it's going to be for when the scheduling module comes out here at the beginning of the year. So we're extremely excited about that. So we have our user set up. We're doing tasks, and of course we've already shot this one. So let's go ahead and go to our photos. Now you might be wondering why the photos are here in our email. Well, this is another great thing we have set up. So we have a an account with WeTransfer, and this is just a little tidbit here. The reason we do this is because our photographers from anywhere that they are, because we have multiple areas where photographers are sometimes hours away from each other, our photographers can simply go to flashitfirst.wetransfer.com, add their files, and the email addresses are already in here. So our retoucher gets the file, and I get the file, and Barry gets the file, and our retouchers can just take it from here and then they re-upload them. And so what I have as when I'm trying to deliver the photos is I have a really nice record here. I know that Jordan delivered to our retouchers, and then I know that our retouchers have sent us the photos. So let's go ahead and download these, and I'm going to go ahead and open them. And let's show you what we do for our workflow. Now the great thing about this is that this is actually a fresh install of the computer, and so none of my settings are actually in here. So you're going to see how I'm setting up everything as we go as well. So we have the photos now, and I'm going to go ahead and extract them. All right, and here we can see that they're extracted. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them all. Now we do sky replacements every once in a while if it's kind of cloudy, so I'm going to deselect the sky replacements. All right, make sure there's no fireplaces because we do that as well. And we're probably going to have double photos, so I'm going to deselect these sky replacements. And we're going to go ahead and just drag these right into Lightroom. Now, why do we use Lightroom? You know, it's important to kind of have control over the quality of your photos. And so we do this final touch. It's very quick because one of the things that is important is to really work with your retouchers. Let them know what you expect, and let them know what your photographers are going to be delivering. If you see that your photos aren't coming out the way that you really want them, ask your retouchers, is it because of what we're delivering? Is it because of some kind of scheduling issue? Is it because the information isn't as clear as it could be? Go ahead, before you get stressed out, before you start worrying about what your agents are going to like, go ahead and talk to your retoucher. The more that you help them and yourself, the better the team's going to be. So I have these in my library. I'm going to go ahead and hit develop. I'm going to look through these photos real quick, and like I said, this is the first time we're doing this. And it is going to go a little bit slower just because of the live stream. It's going to take up some time here. So I can see that pretty much everything's good. I'm looking at the green walls there just to make sure it's pretty consistent. I love the views out here of the desert here and the mountains. We have some pretty good shots here. Oh, this is a great shot right here of a dining room. That's going to come up here, and I'll wait till the live stream. So here's a good shot of the view and stuff like that. So all I can see really is the highlights are just a little bit higher. Now, something, and Doug, thank you for your question, because we're definitely going to get to the questions. So something that we need to look at here are the highlights. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of the photos because they look pretty good. And there's a couple of things I do here. So I'm going to lower the highlights just a little bit just because they do seem to be pretty heavy here. And then I'm going to go to detail, and I'm going to go ahead and sharpen them. And we have found that if you sharpen them, now it depends on where you start, obviously, but once you bring them into Lightroom, as long as you sharpen them around from 80 to 100, they're not going to increase noise. Now, of course, that's dependent on the raw files that you are actually delivering to your retoucher. All right, and then every once in a while you can go down here to effects and just add a little dehaze. It brings in the colors a little bit more, just makes everything a little bit nicer. So there you go. So that's all we're going to do to our photos right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to go to export, and now this is where I usually have my export settings already set. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do them now, since we're setting up a new installation here. So I'm going to go same folder as original photo. Okay, same folder as original photo. Put in subfolders. I'm going to say that this is a Lightroom subfolder, so it'll automatically. I'm not going to worry about renaming it, but I am going to resize to fit. Now, we get a lot of questions about photos and the best sizes and stuff like that. Keep this in mind about photos. As a photographer, we obviously want to shoot in the highest quality and get the best photos so that we can use it for large format ads. But the truth is, we don't really need to. The truth is, if we look at different ads that agents use, we are looking at about 2880 by 1920 is plenty enough for most all ads, and I do it at 300 pixels per inch here. That's good for most all ads. And so really we've only had one or two agents in the years that we've been working that have said, hey, we need a billboard ad, could you send us something else? And then we do. But for the most part, 2880 by 1920 at 300 pixels per inch. Now what does this mean? We can save a lot of time here, because what we need to do is we need to make sure we're shooting in RAW format that is just the size that we need. So if there's a RAW format that's 3000 by 2000, we need to shoot in that. If there's a 2880 by 1920, we need to shoot in that. But we don't need to shoot in the RAW format of 6000 by 4000, because we just simply don't need it. What that's going to save you is the time when you're downloading the photos from your camera, uploading them to your retoucher, sorting through them, having your retoucher download them, sending them back to you, having you upload them to the full frame. Every megabyte counts when you're doing that, and you can literally save hours if you shoot correctly. So let's go ahead and shoot in a RAW format just above what we need for our finish. We're going to go ahead and do this, and the last thing I'm going to do is here, post-processing. So after export, I'm going to open them in another application, and what I'm going to open them in is Adobe Bridge. And the reason I'm going to do that is because that's how I'm going to resort and rename them. So I'm opening them in Adobe Bridge right now. So they're exporting, and my bridge automatically opened, and now we're seeing the photos. So let's go ahead and quickly resort them. I'm just looking through them. So obviously we want, so obviously we want the front here. The back, that's a nice view shot there. Kind of want the front of the house at the beginning. I'm going to put this back here a little bit towards the back. We have the entrance here. And of course, what sells houses? Well, we have the main area. That's a nice view. Then we have the dining room. Then the kitchen. That's super important. And then after the kitchen and the breakfast area, we're going to go ahead and put the master bedroom with the master bathroom. Now, sometimes this is hard to figure out, and one of the discussions we've been having a lot lately with clients is the amount of work that you're trying to avoid giving to others. So this is a great example here. We had a situation where photographers were uploading their RAWs, and then the retoucher would kind of just retouch them as they went, and they weren't in any particular order, and then they got delivered, and then, like I do, we had to resort them. And, you know, the truth is, our photographers sort their own photos before they send them when they're cleaning up the files. This allows them to do a couple of things. Number one, they now have command over their photos, because let's face it, if they're a great photographer, they're going to want command over their photos and what they deliver. Now, in order to get them to that place where they can do that, you really need to teach them. If they're a part of your team, then make them a part of your team. Make them feel like a part of your team, like they're trustworthy, like you trust them, they trust you. Help them be better photographers. We're going to talk about in another series about building a trustworthy team, because we hear this a lot about, well, I don't want my photographers doing this, I don't want my photographers doing that, or maybe I am the photographer. How you want to build your business is definitely the way that you should do it. But I do want to share in another series about building that trustworthy team, not worrying about them stealing your agents, not worrying about them getting certain information from your agents, because let's face it, they're seeing the agents all the time at the photo shoot. They are getting that information. So let's figure out how to make them part of the family and part of the team to where you don't have to worry about that. So right now, pretty much I have everything in order. I do want to move this photo after the kitchen here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of my photos. I'm going to go to Tool, and I'm going to go to Batch Rename. Now, of course, like I said, this is usually set up, but for this instance, this is a new installed computer. So we're going to go ahead and set it up for you. In Bridge, I'm going to have text. And for us, I just put image. Sometimes I do put the street address. Actually, we started doing that lately just because we had a couple of agents asking for that. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a sequence number. I'm going to do 2 digits, and I'm going to start with 01. Now, if you're a company that delivers a lot of images, what I would do here is I would do 3 digits, because the way that they're sorted, sometimes it goes 01, 11, 111 type thing. So we want 01, 02, that sort of thing. So I'm going to do sequence number, 2 digits, and I'm going to hit rename. Now these are all perfectly named. Now before I get out of Bridge, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the address here, and I'm going to copy it. And the reason I'm going to copy it is because now we get to the fun part, which is we're going to go to full frame. We're going to go to our photos, and we're going to upload the photos. And because I copied the address, I can just upload them right there. And here they are in their own folder. So now these are uploading. As these uploads, I want to answer a couple of questions. So is calendar sharing detailed in some documentation for later? Is the naming convention okay? So let's take care of the first one. So is calendar sharing the steps detailed in some documentation for later? Absolutely. So what we want to do here is I'm going to go to another tab because I don't want to disrupt my my photo upload. But if we go to another tab and we go to the Learning Center up here on the top right hand menu, and I'm going to wait for the live feed to come, then here are videos that you can watch as you're setting up your account. And our first video here under account configuration as of tonight is the calendar module. So you can watch that video. It'll give you step-by-step instructions on how to configure the calendar, how to turn it on, and how to start using it. All right, so we get back to our photo. So that's for the steps for the calendar. And the second question, Doug, thank you so much for your questions. The second question is the naming convention you're using new, changed from image -001, etc. It's a few months old for us. Image 01 and that sort of thing is probably the best naming convention that we've had. And the reason is because you never want your naming convention to be too long when you're naming your photos, because a lot of software products online and on your desktop just simply don't support long names. That comes from databases which can only have a certain amount of characters. Now it's gotten better here in the present, but it's something that you want to watch out for. So image 01 is always the safe bet. Image 02. For certain clients, I do put the address just because they do a lot of shoots and they want to see the address right away. when they're looking at the individual photos. Okay, great. So we have our photos already uploaded. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to notify our clients, and yes, I'm going to notify them in real time because, as I said, this is a project that we need to deliver. Now, the second step of this project, I've already delivered the photos. I haven't had to leave full frame other than to retouch the photos, and the truth is, I didn't even really need to do that final touch. I could have gone right from the retoucher to the project, or by the way, I could have had our retoucher simply upload them to full frame. Now that's a great idea too, because then you don't have to wait for that transition from the retoucher to you. You can just have them uploaded directly to full frame. It saves you a couple of steps, and it also gives the agents their photos much earlier. But a notification has been sent out to the client. Now he's going to get a link that tells him where to find his photos. But we have one more step. They did order a virtual tour, which I can see in our package here. So I'm going to go ahead and order a virtual tour for them. Now I see that they have 30 photos here, so realistically a 28 template is the best one to use. We have a 20 photo template, 24 photo template, and 28 photo template. And I'm looking at this this home. It does look like a mid-sized family home. And so what I'm going to use actually is I'm going to use the Won't Stop Dreaming. I love using this template for homes that are marketed towards families. So I'm going to go ahead and start filling this in. I believe I want everything. And usually when I'm doing a virtual tour, I use almost everything except for laundry rooms, secondary bathrooms, and stuff like that. Now, because I've already sorted these photos in the correct order that I want, because I've already renamed them in Bridge, they're just going to import the way that I want them to appear on the virtual tour. I am going to switch this around because this is a much better view of the master. Then we have the bed and the walls here with the windows, and then we have a view of the bathroom. So that's when we're going to come into the bathroom, and I am going to use these right here. And same here with the bathroom. So we're going to use pretty much every photo. We do have to start making decisions. So this one we're not going to use because that's the laundry room, and probably not this secondary external, because on our virtual tours, just to let you know, the first photo shows at the beginning and also at the end. So you're always going to have that photo show. So I'm going to go ahead and do, let's see, did I miss one? Yeah, I missed one right here. And I'm going to put this external, and then we're going to have our first one show again. So I went ahead and did that. I'm going to hit yes, I would like a new virtual tour, order virtual tour. All the information is directly pulled in from the project itself. So now I've just almost completed our project. So now Full Frame is going to get an email saying that they have a virtual tour. They're going to go ahead and deliver that virtual tour within about 24 hours. Usually it's within a couple of hours, if not right away, but within 24 hours. Now the great thing about this virtual tour is that it is going to be automated very, very soon. We also have new templates for, let's say, land only, because we do get that question a lot about the land. And so for land only. Now we do have another question as we do this. So the virtual tour will be delivered to us, and when we receive it back from Full Frame, we're going to have the unbranded and branded IDs here. They're going to stream directly, so you don't have to worry about that. And then you're also going to have a branded file with the agent's information that the agent can then download from their client center, so you don't have to worry about that either. And then once you decide, yes, this tour is good, you can notify the client that the tours are ready. Then we would go to main, and of course they'll get an email. We would go to main, and we would hit this as complete, and then we're done. So that's a much faster workflow than some of the workflows that we've kind of been working with our clients, simply because I never had to leave Full Frame. I never had to leave Full Frame. And the longer you can spend with one solution or one software program, the better it is for your business because of the effort and energy. There's a question here, is there value in SEO for including property address in the file name? And I would say absolutely not. And the reason is because, well, a couple of things. Number one, because of the way that systems are set up, the file names are dynamic, and so when Google's doing a search of the file names, it's not necessarily going to find the file names. Now, there is obviously SEO in the address and stuff like that. And so that's good to know also. But the greatest thing about the SEO, so we talk about SEO, and our agents want SEO because they've heard this word SEO, and some of them know what they mean and some of them don't. And the truth is, it's changing so much now because Google is kind of getting away from the SEO part of it, that it's really not something that I personally focus on. What I do focus on is understanding that that property website, both the unbranded and the branded, are going to be out on Google. Okay, and so if you have agents who work with you throughout the year, every single time they do a project with you, they have 2 opportunities to get their name out there, both through the unbranded and the branded. Now, I know you're asking, unbranded, what does that mean? Well, it's because even though the agent's name isn't on there, it is on the branded, and when Google searches, it's searching for relevant information like homes in Orange County, homes in Katy, Texas, homes in South Carolina, Hilton Head. So it's searching for that, and it's going to find the property websites. Here's the greatest value of the property websites, though, is that once you go to your project and you hit archive, oh boy, what that's going to do is it's going to remove the property websites, and it's going to send the property website address that you're using to the agent's website. So let me say that again. When you move a project to archive as the status, it's going to remove the property websites, and the addresses that people are using to get to those property websites, including Google, is going to go to the agent's website. Now think about this for a second. I could spend thousands of dollars, and people do, on SEO trying to get them to my website, or I could use you as a photographer, and every single project that I get, it updates 2 more links to my website. So if I do 30 projects with you, now I have 60 additional links to my website. And by the way, that's just the icing on the cake. That's not even why I used you. But these are the features that we're talking about with Full Frame that a lot of our clients are not grasping because they're more worried about their competitors, or they're more worried about their pricing versus their competitors. They're more worried about the agents. They're more worried about the external sources. And what I want you to do tonight is I want you to remember a couple of things, and I want you to set some goals. So number 1, remember that this is your business. This is your business. You get to run it the way you want. We do polls about, do agents understand my business? Do they understand photography? And the truth is they don't, and they shouldn't have to, right? We say they're agents, we're photographers. So let's run our business the way that we want. Let's not worry first about our competitor. Now, of course, we have to compete. I get that. That's why you compete with price with your packages, and then you bring in the profit with your add-ons. And we'll talk about setting up the packages versus the add-ons in our next session. But think about what you need. Think about your goal. What do you want to make this next year? Whether that's how many shoots you want to do, how many photographers you want to hire, and how many shoots you have to do to keep them busy. Or what kind of income you want. What kind of income do you need for you and your family? So think about that. Find out the percentage of market share that you would have to have. And when you do this, I think what you're going to find is that you need to be out there shooting, and you need to be training your photographers to shoot. You need to be running your business instead of dealing with agents. You need to be running your business and bringing it to the next level instead of using 6 different pieces of software. Because that takes time and effort. And right now I understand that it's not that big of a deal perhaps. We have some clients who are doing hundreds and hundreds of projects a month. We have some clients who are doing 5. And sometimes what happens when we're building our business, we're trying to get going, but we have a lot of extra time because we haven't gotten our business where we want it yet. So we do our workflow, we work out our workflow based on how much time we have today. And that's not what you want to do. What you want to do is build your workflow based on how much time you're going to have in a year or 2 years when your business actually hits the level that you want it to hit. That's the workflow you want to have. So the fewer solutions you have, the simpler it is, the greater the chance you're going to hit your goal. And let me tell you something, you are going to hit your goal. You are going to hit your goal. You know why? Because somebody's going to hit it, and it might as well be you. So what's your goal? How are you going to run your business? And then you put it out there to the world. You let your agents know what to expect. You let your agents know what you expect from them. And you build a team of agents and photographers that energizes you. When you speak to your agents, I want you to be energized. When you speak to your photographers, I want you to be energized. I want you to grow with Full Frame. And the best way to do that is to actually simplify and condense your workflow. Come up with the little tricks like opening up in a new browser or renaming and resorting. Come up with a great workflow like that that takes less time and energy. And any extra time that you have right now, you should be on the phone calling agents. Or if that's not your marketing plan, you should be sending out emails. Or if that's not your marketing plan, you should be networking. Whatever your marketing and networking plan is will work if you just do it. So tonight we're going to think about that. We're going to find the time to make our business what we want to be. We're going to simplify, and we're going to try to use Full Frame for most of the solutions very simply because it takes less time, energy, and effort. Hey guys, if you need to talk one-on-one, I'm happy to do that. Just give us a call at Full Frame. Go on our website or email us at info@gofullframe.com. That's info@gofullframe.com. I'm happy to spend some time with you. Barry's happy to spend some time with you. We love talking to our clients because, after all, not only do you get the great software that we have developed and that works for our photography company, but you also get our time, our energy, our understanding of the market, and our experiences with our own photography company. That's all for you as a Full Frame client. Hey guys, thank you so much. We are going to pick a winner here, and it looks like our winner is Framed Listings. Congratulations to Framed Listings. You have 3 virtual tours. So go ahead, Framed Listings, and order those tours on your next projects, and we will throw in 3 virtual tours for you. Hey guys, thank you so much for being here. We will see you next Thursday night as we continue this discussion and we look specifically at photos and add-ons here at Full Frame. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night. Bye-bye.